Well, we grab another one of our guests north of the U.S.-Canadian border. He's from Lethbridge, Alberta, and he is set to tackle the 2023 360 Knoxville Nationals tonight. Actually, we're going to talk about how 2023 has went for him. He's scored a fair amount of wins and had a really good Speed Week Northwest. That's Kelly Miller. Kelly Miller is next after these messages on Getting Up to Speed. Dave's Home Supply specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED. He's on the phone with us. We recorded this last night while he was in the transport lounge, the massive transport lounge at the Walmart parking lot. But he'll be running tonight for the 360 portion of the Knoxville Nationals. Kelly Miller from Lethbridge, Alberta. Kelly, it's great to have you on here.
Yes, no, thank you for having me on here. I know it was a little bit of phone tag, but we made it happen.
Well, and you guys have been hammer down time. You guys raced Skagit last week for the Summer Nationals. You ran the whole Speed Week Northwest, and then it was Power Hour as you guys made your way to Iowa.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a very busy couple days for sure. I mean, there's 24 hours in a day, and I think I've seen them all a few times lately.
Sure.
Very, very grateful that our Speed Week went very smooth to allow me to go to come out to Knoxville now, obviously. Our Northwest Speed Week actually it had some ups and downs, but overall it was pretty good. So I'm going to try again in Knoxville, Iowa.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys had some splendid runs. A runner-up finish at Sunset Speedway Park, a remarkable finish at that.
Yeah, you know what? We kind of had a game plan going into that place. I know it's a little bit of a smaller track, kind of just a small quarter mile, and right up my alley, I think, with the whole bottom feeder, get the car to work, well for me kind of deal. And it felt nice running down Dominic Calvary there for a few laps. And, just if lap traffic would have went a little differently, I think we may have actually had a chance of winning that race.
And you guys had a fast piece to open things up at Grays Harbor. You guys led the first 7 laps or so, 6-7 laps, and just was on rails. It's just there was a gosh darn caution that bound you guys all up.
Yeah. The first night in Skagit, we didn't have the greatest amount of speed, but going into Elmo was fun. I haven't been there for quite a few years, but from what I remember, it was it reminded me of a little bit of back in the day, Bridge County. Obviously, it goes way back. I raced a couple of years as my home track there in Lethbridge, and wide swooping corners, big speed, got lots of wing. The whole car just really, you got to keep it smooth and straight, and it played right into my package, I think, pretty well. In Elma, we had a couple things kind of go wrong, but we rebounded well. We did crash on, I think it was Sunday night, and we had some help from some fellow competitors, Trevor Kirkland and Phil Beats. Their crews helped us out quite a bit, which was very nice of them. We rebounded. We rebuilt the car in the pits and came back out. And I think we went from 20-something to 11th or 10th. I don't know if we got in the top 10 or not. But anyways, yes, both nights in Grays Harbor, I had a fantastic time. The car was absolutely a blast to drive. So,
and then a couple midweek shows at Cottage Grove, a place that you'd been at earlier in the year for the Marvin Smith Memorial Grove Classic and also for the Spring Fling back in late April.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, we spent a lot of time on the West Coast this year so far. I don't know how that's all kind of panned out for us, but we have been to Cottage Grove a few times. Track has been a little bit inconsistent. From what I remember back in the day, in Speed Weeks, it's been dry and smooth and just kind of finessing. And the last couple of times I've been to Cottage Grove, it's been pretty rough and elbows up, and it doesn't really suit my driving style. I haven't really found my comfort zone there just yet, but we did survive. Cottage Grove was fun, but I don't exactly remember where we finished, but I hope next year we could probably finish a little better. Just for the simple fact I don't remember where we finished. Probably wasn't great. So
sure,
it's all kind of blending into one at the moment.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
It's been all one long day. However, you guys had a decent points run. I mean, top 5 in Speed Week points. That's really something to be proud about.
I think so. Yeah, for our little team coming out of Lethbridge, with our crew and my mom coming down there, Adam and Brad and everyone, and being able to put 8 nights together without really having a DNF in the main event and making the show every night and actually, being consistent. And that's pretty crazy for our little team to manage that. Like what we come from and what we managed to do is absolutely, I'm so grateful for it. So, and, just to put it all together and then, the major plan of coming to Knoxville afterwards to have that all kind of pan together and work out. And it's crazy. So I'm more or less speechless, for if a lot of people would figure out, or if they knew where we came from and how we do things, they would probably drop their draws. So
sure. Well, and overall, 2023 got right around 22 feature starts, 14 top 10s, but about a 33% average, 33% top 5 average with 7 top 5s, but 4 wins, 4 victories. I mean, you've been doing very well with the ASCS Frontier region. 3 wins at Billings, May 19th and 20th, June 17th, and also a win at Gallatin and Belgrade on June 16th.
Yep. Yeah, I know we've definitely shown our strengths back in Montana, which is nice. I will have to account that we've picked up some partners along with our team. We got Pat Beck Motorsports really helping us out with our motor program, which takes a lot of stress off my shoulders. But this winter we also worked really hard on our chassis program. And, we might not be running the newest stuff, but we do understand our stuff. And I think that goes, obviously a very long distance when it comes to this form of racing, just having a good understanding of what's underneath me, to work with. So I think it's obviously shown. And I've also been fortunate enough to get to drive a guy's car up in Edmonton a couple times too, like a 305 car kind of deal. And more lap time, the better, I think. It's just like Kyle Larson, he doesn't say no to much, and I would like to say that if I had an opportunity to drive someone else's car, I definitely would be down for it. So
I know I'm preaching to the choir, and we've talked about this many, many times, along with so many others. Bring 360s back to Edmonton. That'd be phenomenal. That'd be great.
It would be. It'd be nice to see 360 racing in Alberta again, but the last few years it really hasn't panned out. But I guess what I've heard, there might actually be a new owner of Brad Torque Raceway, I believe is what it goes by now. So that the track up in Leduc is going to have new ownership, and usually new ownership, new blood might actually bring some more passion back to the sport, and hopefully maybe we want to expand again and bring that back. And I think there's a few dirt tracks that have potential to actually have some good 360 racing. We just need to get it back on schedule. So yes,
and because at one time there was a handful of tracks that you mentioned Bridge County in your native Lethbridge.
Yeah, Bridge County. Yeah.
Rigby still runs. What's that? Central Alberta Raceway, and then Edmonton.
Yeah, they got Rimby. In Edmonton. I did get to race in Swift Current, Saskatchewan too this year, which is kind of the province over to us. But I mean, I was like 2.5 hours from my house. But we talked back in the day about my dad and Larry go way back. I'm working on trying to get them into the I think it's the Alberta Hall of Fame, I believe is the word. Alberta, more Western Canada. Motorsports Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that going up there. But they go talking back in the day. I'm pretty sure that they've mentioned anywhere from 12 to 14 dirt tracks in Alberta alone.
Yeah.
So there was a drive for it at one point.
Sure. Well, there was Drayton Valley, was it Rapid Fire Speedway or something like that, or?
Yeah, Drayton Valley. Yeah, you betcha. I remember watching my dad run in Drayton Valley. You betcha. I actually think he may have won.
Oh,
my dad won there once.
Well, and
he'd get a win about every 5 years, and then that would fuel him to go for another 5 years.
Sure.
And I just told him, I said, we just bought new seatbelts, and they said they're good for till 2025. And I said, well, that says it right there. We can't give up yet. So the seatbelts are going to be good for another couple of years. So.
Well, for some of the folks that are listening, a lot of it is California based, and some of it even Midwest and East Coast based. So this is all foreign information. There used to be in Alberta. So Kelly is from Lethbridge, Alberta, and that's right. Yep. What? How far from the border? It's southern Alberta.
Yeah, southern Alberta. So I'm 45 minutes from the United States. Just north of Montana. The closest dirt track in the United States would be Great Falls, Montana, to me. Yeah, so that'd be kind of like my home base track. But it's just we do get to travel obviously quite a bit, which is nice. We have some very nice diesel sponsors that allow me to go down the road and keep me busy, which is obviously fantastic. But I mean, pretty crazy to see that dirt track racing in Alberta has really fallen off, but I hope that it picks back up here at some point.
Well, and that's what I was going to point to. Like, back in the day, we're talking the 90s, there used to be the Northern Sprint Tour, and they went to Bridge County, and then they went up to Edmonton. I think it was called Capital Speedway at the time, or Capital Raceway.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, it's when, like, I think it was like Budweiser Motorsports Park and Castrol Raceway.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember it. And like you said, it's like Red Torque Raceway. But they used to have
a couple name changes along the way.
The Canadian Gold Cup was the home in Edmonton, and 360 Racing, I think the last time they ever really had a 360 race was 2020, like in July, and then it just was kaput. And they do have sportsman sprint, limited sprint stuff.
Yeah, the 305 stuff still going up there fairly decently. They do travel to, I think they went to Rindy once, and they went to Swift Current and stuff like that, but when it comes to the big picture stuff for 360 racing, I think the biggest part is just the matter of the lack of cars now, right? Like even Montana is struggling a little bit getting a car count together. So, you have to be grateful that, Dennis Durworks has got on board with us to give us some, a diesel fund that can get me to Knoxville and can get me to the West Coast and let me to get some exposure, obviously, to better racing. But I mean, in the future, I wouldn't see why 360 racing couldn't come back to Alberta. It just will take a little bit of work at this point, right? It's just a matter of, I think a lot of the guys who have had cars up there are definitely, they got quite a bit of dust on them, right? So
yes,
and or maybe replaced by boats. I'm not too sure.
And I went there in 2016, and it's a phenomenal facility. And the cool thing is that Leduc part, the southern part of Edmonton, it's a racing area. Like whether it's drag racing,
for sure,
road course, and of course
the whole
the dirt
facility
track
really brings it all.
Yes.
Yeah. With the drag racing, the oval, the dirt oval, and the road course, and motocross track. I'm pretty sure I've talked to my uncle before, and they say that facility's busy like probably 80% of the year. Like there's always something going on, which is pretty cool. But talking back in like the maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, like sprint car racing was very healthy up in Leduc at the time. The Gold Cup was a very prestigious event, and you have that West Coast support out of Skagit, and I remember going up there as a kid and watching my dad race, and just it was pretty crazy to see. So it's too bad that it's not there anymore. But I'm also very grateful that my dad and Larry haven't given up on me to let me keep going racing and let me go further and let me obviously pursue my dreams. So
absolutely. And they used to have a sprint tour themselves, the Alberta Sprint Tour, and that kind of went away like 2009 or so. But it would travel.
The Alberta Sprint Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they went to Drayton Valley and Swift Current and Lethbridge at the time, and Edmonton. I think they maybe even went to Great Falls, but I don't know. Probably back in the day, a large supporter of that would have been Richard Samir and the Scott Safety. I think Scott Safety was a big sponsor supporter of that as well. But Richard Samir and Travis Rylett. Richard Samir brought a lot of talent to the sport and a lot of names to the sport, and really kind of kept that growing at the time. So it's too bad that Richard's no longer with us, and it's sad. But it's just I was grateful enough. I kind of caught the tail end of the Alberta Sprint Tour. I think I got Rookie of the Year or something like that. Maybe ran second in points, but it was obviously just a consistency thing. But throughout time there has been glimpses of talent, I guess you could say, and glimpses of successful 360 racing in Alberta. But it's like you said, it's just kind of too bad that I've had to drive a lot of miles to go to races. But
well, and I remember there was a racetrack. It was Rocky Mountain Raceway or something, which there's a lot, like Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain National Speedway. Like Otonks or some funky name, and then they went there one time, I think, like in 08 or 07, and then the place shuttered.
On their way up to, I think they had like a kind of a decent sized race scheduled prior to the Gold Cup at the time. I think Ned Powers ended up winning, and I think my dad ran second. I do remember that weekend, and that racetrack it was definitely a unique spot and had a lot of potential for sure. I have some pretty vivid memories of the racetrack too. I think that's about the first time I ran a 360 car, and it was also the first time I ended up at the hospital too. So it all kind of blends together there. So, I mean, for a little racetrack, it was vicious.
Yeah.
So,
you got a lot of stuff.
It was a sharp learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for sure, did. Yeah.
Well, first time. So I mean, for the listening audience, Kelly and I, we go way back. First time I met him is back in 2011. There was the Interstate Sprint Car Series, which Brian Crockett operated when it was a 360 series. And then there was the NSA Shootout, which that was a Mike Quigley deal. And they had like 3 nights on my side of the rocks, Wairika, California, Southern Oregon Speedway, Cottage Grove Speedway. And then we went to your guys' side of the brick wall, the Rocky Mountains with let's see, it was a Wednesday at Great Falls, Friday at Belgrade, Saturday at Great Falls. So that was, and I think you ended up winning that championship because you scored the most points.
Yeah, I think once again there probably was only 10 or so cars that maybe traveled that whole series. But I do remember Quigley doing that, and I think Roger Crockett was one of the guys who followed that whole tour, and it was pretty neat to see, the West Coast and kind of I don't know what you'd classify Montana as I wouldn't say upper Midwest.
Yeah.
It's like, so it was nice to see those guys work together.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I mean, in the future, would it be nice to see a speed week like that again? Yes, but I think it's just so hard for everyone to travel nowadays that it's a long grasp to try to get people to go more than 5 hours. It seems like so.
Yeah, and it's about.
But back in the day, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was about 14 or so. I think it still is from here, meaning I live in Cottage Grove, Oregon, to Great Falls. Montana.
Cottage Grove to Great Falls.
It's a haul. And we were talking about, oh man, we could go to Yakima or something for a midweek show. But,
that would have helped. That would have helped a little bit.
They need to build a racetrack in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So, but.
Yeah, or State Line. I think they have a pavement track in State Line, Idaho, for sure. I've heard about that.
Yep.
For sure. But there is definitely endless amounts of potential between racetracks and sanctioning bodies and stuff, and it's just communication is key. So
yes, well, and
I'm grateful that I get to bounce around.
You and I were talking before we started the interview, and you were talking about, I'm in a Walmart parking lot, and you and I on that Thursday off day. Your dad and your uncle Larry were with Stephen Allard, and we were just at this hole in the wall barbecue thing that the town of Great Falls put on for all of us involved with the races. And there was this kid, you guys were ribbing him a lot, like, oh yeah, he's gonna go in the Volvo, and using some choice words and stuff. And turns out like he's racing is what he does for a living.
Yeah, you know what? Back in the day, I was very grateful to get to work with Tyler Tessmaker and travel a lot with him. And from seeing him involved to what he is now, it's pretty crazy. And a lot of people, I think, probably laughed at us when we went on our first speed week together, and we were like 18 and 16 years old, and probably didn't have a clue what we're doing, and reading paper maps and getting lost, and backing the truck up, and just like living on hot dogs and sleeping in Walmart parking lots, and like it was crazy, and our parents let us do it too, which is just the most crazy part. Right? Like, here's the keys to the Volvo. We'll see you in a week and a bit. Like, just like, oh boy.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yeah, he's done some amazing things with his talents of his sprint car knowledge and his passion and his hard work. Like what he does for Rundeen, it's definitely showing tenfold. Obviously, he's done a wonderful job. So
yeah, I mean, it's
pretty cool to see.
It's super cool how you see all the connections, and especially like as I've grown, more and more, and going to different places, different series, different racetracks, and see we're all connected. Whether it's with the Red Bluff Outlaws, with connections to drivers that race in the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series, or even Cottage Grove, of some guys that have went on and do some things on big stages too. It's just so super.
Oh, for sure. Cool. Tanner Holmes now is a big one, and exactly. It's just like I got my dad down here with me in Knoxville, and we just kind of rolled in today, and we went and had some Mexican food there for dinner, and Johnny Herrera sitting at the table next to you, and JJ Hickle sits down, at the table beside you, and it's such a small world, especially when these big races come around and you see all these people. It's just like it's really cool to be a part of it.
It absolutely is. It's mind-boggling because once you get, we're from the areas that we're from, which is no disrespect to them, but once we get to the hubs,
we're not exactly in the hub.
Like, wow, like I knew more people than I didn't, or you're like, wow, this is way too much for me.
Right, yeah, for sure. And I feel that way. Definitely coming from Lethbridge, a very kind of isolated town in Canada that has no dirt track racing anymore, and when I don't get to hang around there too much during the summer. Obviously, when I travel down the road and I get to these racetracks, that's with my friends, that's with people I know, that's what I know, and that's just how I am. I'm very grateful for all that stuff. Just you don't want to take it for granted because one day it might not be there. So every weekend is there's a reason why I smile all the time because I am happy.
Yeah, so, every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Well,
that's exactly it.
Well, when I first met you and for the first few years that I saw you, you were number 44, and then all of a sudden there's a number change to junior. What was the story with that?
Yeah. Well, there's a few stories. It depends who you ask. I think I just kind of want to go back to my roots of, my dad was number 2 and kind of go back and respect that. Go with the 2JR and just build that history and stuff. The 44, I don't really know. At one point, I probably really disowned my dad, and I was like the furthest thing away from the number 2 I could get. So it was a number, And then he says, of course, that's my English mark. I barely passed high school. I don't know how I passed the 44, but apparently that was my grade in English. So
nice.
It all kind of, who knows? There's many stories to it, but I'm much happier with the 2JR than I probably ever was with the 44. But I think I've been doing it. 16, 17 years now. It's been a while, and driving a race car, a 360 car, and I really wish that I could have maybe caught on to a few things a little sooner, so I could have my uncle with me more and have my dad with me more, and we can be more competitive and having more fun. Like they got to be there through the development stages of me being not worth a crap, right? Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't imagine the amount of tongue biting they did. They probably wanted to fire me every night. Right. So,
but here you are. You're still racing, and you're in
I know. Yeah, I've learned to lock tight my seat bolts and cross thread them as best I can, so they can't remove it. So
exactly. Good. That's smart thinking.
Yeah, right.
That's a man with a plan.
That is smart thinking. That's right. That's right. I think longevity. I think about when they do get angry at me, how much work is it going to take them to take that seat out? A lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, a question for you, and I always ask it to my Canadian friends, and everyone's journey is different, but 2020 happens, the border's closed. For you, with just Edmonton, and like I said, they only had like one race for 360s. For you, that kind of shut down racing completely for a while.
It did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? When you live vicariously through a race car, and that is your person, and that's how kind of define yourself as what you do in life. It was very hard on mental health, and it's hard on a lot of things not being able to go racing in the States, because that's 99% of where we went. And don't kid yourself, we tried very hard to go racing in the States. We tried to go down every avenue possible, legally and through all the right loops to try to get into the United States, but the country, like the world, was shut down, and that hurt. And did it kind of put a burden on us? Probably, being out of the seats, being out of hockey skates. When we're Canadians, we play hockey. Well, it's just like riding a bike. Well, it's not really just like riding a bike. You kind of have to get a handle of things again, right? So, and this sport, racing, motorsports, changes so much in short periods of time, right? Like, as much as I may have only been out of the car for 2 years, shocks, motor programs, all that stuff, it changes, right? So it's just like it's tough to get back on point with everything. But I mean, last year was a struggle. We definitely fought numerous issues, and it didn't look great on results. But I mean, we didn't give up, and we just kind of we looked at all our weak points and said, what do we got to do to be better? And I think we definitely accomplished 90% of them this winter, this past off season, going into this year. That's it's shown. So I feel so much more comfortable in a race car this year than I did last year. So I'm very happy.
And how much of a layoff was it for you being out of the race car from COVID time?
I mean, it was, 2 years or so, right? I mean, my current job at the time, I'm sure loved it because guess what? Kelly doesn't need to have all this time off. He has nowhere to go.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I got to be a full-time employee again, which, in the grand scheme of things, I'm very grateful that most of my jobs always are very, very lenient when it comes to that stuff, with the honesty that goes along with this lifestyle. But, it was, definitely different. And I mean, I don't want to go back there and do that again. No thanks.
Yeah. One time was good enough. So.
Yes, we got. I think I went paddle boarding for the first time. I think I went fishing. Like I did all them things. What's that? Oh yeah, we went. If anyone is interested in like hiking and stuff, my wife was kind of adamant about going hiking. I said, well, I don't want to go for no walk down some path, like some just mediocre walk, right? I said, if we're going to go hiking, let's do something fun, like intense, right? Like I enjoy the gym and physical exercise. So she's like, well, let's go to this Turtle Mountain. So I didn't ask no questions about this, right? Turtle Mountain. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to fucking Turtle Mountain. Like sounds like a walk to me, right? Like this doesn't sound like it's going to be much fun.
Yeah.
We get there and you have to Google Frank Slide. So it's a mountain that fell down and collapsed, like it completely leveled a big town back in the day, right? Well, we climbed to the top of this thing. I'm terrified of heights. I almost didn't make it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Had to have I don't want a helicopter come get you.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm just gonna curl up on a ball here and shake until someone comes to get me out, kind of thing. Like it was that bad, right? Like so. Anyways, yes, COVID, all that downtime. I'm good, thanks. I don't need to do that again. I'll stick to the race car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Knoxville now for the 360 Nationals.
Yeah.
After this weekend, what is your guys' kind of plan for the rest of the year? I'm sure you guys got the Harvey Ostermiller, of course, in late August. Any other shows that you guys are going to try and hit?
We should be able to do most, like the start, the beginning half of that Southern Speed Week on the West Coast.
Okay.
So that goes to Cottage Grove, Goose Bay, and Douglas County. Then kind of veer off, go back to Billings, and from there for a couple nights. And then where are we off to after that? I think there's a 3-day show in Great Falls. I think I probably got another 15 races or so on the books if everything goes smooth. So I mean, we're kind of at the peak of summer here, so which is okay, but definitely not done yet. So,
yeah, and something I didn't mention, you were the highest finishing 360 at Dirt Cup this year, right?
Yeah. They put up some tow money. Run Dean put up some tow money, and he put up a 360 bonus. And it was a weekend off, I think. And I'm not very comfortable around Skagit, so I figured 3 nights around that place in a row probably do me some good.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out there. We got some laps and caught some notes, and we went back. And yeah, it was good. I've once again checked that off the bucket list of I'm starting to feel pretty good on the West Coast. So it's nice to be competitive out there.
That's terrific. I know that that you guys have apparel for sale. And do you guys have an online page where people can get that, like a social media page, or look at team updates at all?
Yeah. I mean, for apparel and all that stuff, we do run a Facebook page, Kelly Miller Canadian Motorsports. I'm sure you can find us there through like Prevost Racing. There's a couple different avenues you can go. You can get a hold of us there for apparel. But other than that, we do just more or less carry it with us in the race car trailer, and kind of just keeps people that are around us happy. So
Okay. Well, I know that you thanked a lot of people, a lot of specific sponsors. You're more than welcome to thank them again, or any other sponsors or people that you didn't send a shout out to.
I mean, obviously, it takes a very patient wife. It takes a very dedicated family, a very dedicated crew. All my sponsors, with the Diesel, Dennis Dirt Works, and Jeb Transport, and Hawk Hydrovac, and Roland Seeds, and Prevost Racing has been on board for a long time now, for like 6 or 7 years now, over that 5-year mark at least. Like, they're great people, and with Pat Beck Motorsports coming on board, and Roger helping with the engines, and my uncle still building the engines. It takes a village. It takes a very diversified village, and I think we have a very diversified village, which you may only see 2 of us at the racetrack, but there is got to be at least 25 of us behind the scenes making this happen.
Well,
very, very grateful.
Well, Kelly, it's been great to have, first of all, met you all those years ago, over 10 years ago when you think about it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
A dozen years ago, but like our friendship has
Yep.
developed, and it's always great to see that you guys are willing to travel no matter how far it is to support sprint car racing. And first of all, good luck this weekend in Knoxville, and second of all, good luck
Thank you.
the rest of 2023.
That. Yes, for sure. Thank you for always giving me a moment of your time to chat and catch up, and I'm sure I will see you back on the West Coast here in a couple weeks.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the interview, race fans. Again, be sure and hit like, subscribe, and get the latest and greatest news, whether it's getting up to speed, inside NARC, or Sprint Car News today. If you subscribe on the YouTube channel, it'll get you those notifications as soon as all the new episodes come out. In the meantime, everybody, have a great rest of your day, night, whatever time you're listening, and we'll be back next time with more stuff from Highside Racing Promotions.